a situation whereby the lighting conditions are going to be moving up and down. But I thought it would be kind of cool to share this video as a starting point. I wanted to share my thoughts on if I were starting out today and I wanted to become a photographer, like what gear I would pick in 2023. When I look back, I think, I get this question a few times. People ask me, what camera should I get? I'm looking to getting into photography. And now that I've shot for so many years, I've realized that the first camera really doesn't matter as much. I think it's like a learning step. You get your first camera and that's where you start to learn about aperture, you start to learn about the different lenses, you start to learn about ISO. Then you use it and you start to figure out, what you're missing out on, depending on the style or genre of photography you're looking to do. And then that's when you start to, look for the camera that's going to fit your genre, right? So a wedding photographer would be looking for something very different from, let's say, a landscape photographer. So the beginning part of selecting a camera, I always recommend somebody to select a camera that is within the budget that they're willing to spend, right? So an example is that if I was starting out today, just because of what I've seen with, mirrorless cameras, and I'm using a mirrorless camera right now, I would actually start off with a DSLR so that I could just actually understand how a camera system works. Because with mirrorless, a lot of times you can see what you're capturing, whereas with DSLR, you have to do the settings, you have to know whether your exposure triangle is right, which is, the shutter speed, the aperture, and the ISO, and then you snap away. So you have to make those adjustments. So when it comes to the recommendation, I would actually recommend like a Canon 5D Mark II, because that's something I would actually even buy right now, because even the sensor and the color science with that camera takes us way back to, why we loved Canon colors. So I would go for the Canon 5D Mark II, grab a 50mm lens, and at the moment I'm a bit biased because I am a Canon trainer and this year ambassador, so I would be sharing around that. Maybe you can share down below what you would recommend somebody, but I would recommend that. Or if you're looking at the mirrorless side of things, it would either be like the Canon M50 or the Canon EOS R. I'm a huge lover of the Canon EOS R because I used it and that made me switch back to Canon once I used the Canon EOS R. So I would recommend, those cameras. The reason of the first one is just because like you're able to figure things out. It's a bit more, manual, because you are looking through the mirror and you're only seeing what the mirror sees. So you might take a shot and it's dark. Then you have to adjust your exposure and your settings so you can actually get a properly exposed image. So I would go for that because it will allow you to learn about the camera system quickly, and then understanding the triangle. You do also have the option of actually not going that direction. Then you can actually just, go to the mirrorless side of things, and that's not going to limit you from becoming a photographer. I think with photography, it's really about your passion. It's really about your eye. It's about your composition, lighting, the way you tell your stories. And the more I shoot, the more I'm realizing it's less about the gear. And I'm sure you hear that a lot, but it is less about the gear, because you can have the best, latest and greatest and still not create the same images that somebody is capturing with a film camera that is like, an old piece of gear, but they're capturing some amazing emotions and many things with it. So the camera system, the camera body does play a role depending on what you're shooting. Like you wouldn't shoot with a slower camera when it comes to sports. So it depends on what you're shooting. And I think in the beginning stage, you're still trying to figure that out. So I would recommend you to kind of dabble and try things. And then after that, maybe have a conversation with somebody who's in the field that you're trying to go to, and then see what they're using. Then from there on, you can make your decision. A lot of research as well. I always go on YouTube and search so much when I'm about to buy a piece of gear. So I would also recommend that aspect. So that's today's video. Just wanted to kind of touch upon that. I know it was all over the place, but I thought it's better to just start it off and just share something that is on my mind, rather than trying to figure this whole YouTube thing out. It's just, create, show up, and I will figure this thing out as it continues, and then I'll continue to upload. So that's it for me today. Let me know in the comment section down below, what would be your recommendation if you've been shooting for a long period of time, or what are you thinking about getting right now? That's it for me. Take care. I'll catch you guys on another video, man. It was great to see you guys again. It's been a minute. Weird setup right now. I'm not in the studio, but it is what it is. It's time to show up. Peace.